My name is Christopher Jordan, and I'm really curious to hear from you. I think in the world today, we have a pattern of looking at people that we're proud of from the history books, but while they're alive, only focusing on the external circumstances, on the things, for in your case, the situation of apartheid, never really getting deeper than that, and never finding out who that person is inside and what has been their struggle in life. I'm really curious to hear about that from you and how that affected and how that characterized the movement as you move through. Yeah.
I don't know whether that is a question. I mean, it's an observation, isn't it? I mean, it's a very profound observation. Earlier on I was saying to Sarah that, I mean, Margaret, that I'm constantly being bowled over by young people. And, well, you're giving me another example. I mean, I'm sitting at your feet. You are the professor. And I mean, because you're saying, and that is true, that we often look far too frequently at externals. And we don't know the things that have happened to people. Robert, meeting Trevor Atherton through the book, and me. I mean, the things that actually help to shape us. What makes you want to care about people? What makes you want to care? And it may be mother that you had. I had a mother who was not educated, but she was an incredible human being. You know, I mean, incredibly caring and compassionate. I look like her. I mean, she had a large nose, and she was stumpy. And I've always said, I hope I can also resemble her in her spirit. And you know, there are many things that we don't absorb cerebrally. We absorb in all other kinds of ways. Like, you see Robert, and you see, say, the serenity that he has. Now, he hasn't had an easy life. You know, he ought in many ways to be rambunctious, but he has a pool of serenity. I mean, you can even see the way he sits. Not like me, you know.
I'm going to have to slouch here.
But aren't you impressed that, I mean, you know, in the asking of a question, he was really making a statement.
Well, he's obviously given some thought to this, and I'm interested. Can I ask a question here? I'm not really supposed to be, but let me ask you, what brought that up for you? Why did you make that observation? Why?
Well, I think it's the missing part of the story. Typically, I mean, when you look back, there's not that many examples of people from history that you can really be proud of and really be excited about. And it's really disappointing to look in autobiographies well, actually the biographies that other people wrote, and see how there's all of what they come up as this person's internal struggle, or how Martin Luther King had an infatuation with women that was, you know, extramarital, things like that. Like, I want to know from the source what is your struggle, because I think that's what counts. You know what I mean? I don't want to sift through all, you know, this inference and speculation of people who consider themselves scholars, because I don't think it has the same authority. So I think, yeah.
I myself would say, in many ways, we are influenced by the people who touch us. in many ways. I've spoken about my mother, but I could speak about the first Episcopalian priest that I met, a black priest. And the thing that struck me about him was, we were small boys and we were what I call servers at church, and we would go out into the rural areas, and when we got there, the priest was a big chief. I mean, you know, they really danced attention, and at the end of the service, they prepared a sumptuous meal for him, and they drive out little kids out. I have never forgotten that priest never sat down to his meal before he went out. He always went to check whether we were, and we were very, very much lesser mortals. And you don't, when it's happening, you're not aware that this thing is actually impressing itself on you. It's only later when you look back and you say, why am I doing this? And many times it is, I am emulating Father Sekhapan, that caring of his. And so none of us can ever claim to be self-made. We are a gift. And it is others. And so we got to work out. Be careful what you say, what you do, because it's going to make an impression on someone else, for good or for bad.
I think part of it too is the kind of choice we make every day about the language we use. I know that when I'm together with the Archbishop in the morning, he always, without fail, prays for everyone who he will encounter that day. Now, you were included in those prayers this morning. He didn't have a visual of your face and know your name or the wonderful observation that you make, but there's an intentionality about that, about how we choose to approach each day. I think there's also to it a sense of being connected with what fills you with joy. What really makes you come alive